Why, hello. Hello, hi. It is me. It is I. Small town Didi, your Khadi, and this year internet. Akastraha and back. Hello, yella. First, I'm sorry. Something is happening with me in reality television where it used to be my guilty pleasure, and now that it's turning into my job, something is happening there. And I don't know what it is. But I am glad I sat down to catch up on the Real Housewives of Durban because they're actually having an okay season. When I was looking at the clips online, I was like, I don't know about the season, because I'd only watched the first episode, if not the first two. And I think I left you hanging from just that one review. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do like a recap of the season thus far. I think we're at episode 10 that I sit down to record this. And from season 1 to season 5, we've had 14 episodes. I don't think they have a reason to deviate from having that many episodes come out. So we've got 4 more to look forward to. Usually we have a big trip and a big blowout and people saying they're never going to reconcile and stuff. So we have that to look forward to. But I tried to break it down um into packages like they would for a reunion so that I'm not here the whole day just rambling and rambling. So I'm just going to touch on like the themes running for the seasons and I won't really go episode by episode because that's silly. Why would I do that? So then let's just get into it. New castmates Kwanele or Fafa. That she goes by both names. Fafa is a nickname. Her name is Kwanele. And then we have Lo or Lo Lo who's a Mamfundisi, the twins Andile and Ayanda. I think I made notes for the names so that I don't forget their names because that is escaping me. Minnie and Precious. Precious is Nigerian born and raised, I believe, but South African, Durban in particular based. And we don't get to see her for the rest of the season. She's with us just in the Beninging. So we don't need to worry about Precious much. But let's get into the individual packages and also just the beefs that ran through. In episode 2, what's her name? Mamfundisi Law through a high tea. I think it was Royal Escort or something like that she themed it. And um I really believe it's time that we got to a point where we label things like English royal this because they are the royal houses. And as far as we're gonna go with like monarchs. And fine, because of like the colonial shit and how that panned out, when we think a royal family, we really think them. But we do ourselves a disservice if you're a person who is like big on monarchs and having royal houses and things like that for whatever reason. I don't know why. I don't know why. But some of us are set up that way. Then it would behoove us to say it that way. But she has a high tea thing for them. This is a well together put like this is a like the event has been well put together, and her host or her her master of ceremony is Minnie, and that's how we get Minnie to come onto the show. And we also learned that Minnie is Angel's friend. I forgot if we met her through Angel first. I can't remember which, but we meet her as the master of ceremony for Thingas, and she seems to have a confidence about her that this is her thing, this is what she does. I will say she's one of the few housewives who've come on looking polished. We'll get to whether or not we feel the fashions are giving or they're not, but definitely like she doesn't look like a struggling anybody, and I think it has a lot to do with her being an MC, right? Like you this is the brand, you have to look put together and look all of that stuff, so it's already in her arena. If you would like, she's an influencer as well, so there's nothing really about her where you can say, because like Nonku's wigs when we first met her, and for the fact that Nonko is where she is right now, where she feels like she can like give people advice and tell people that they aren't this and they aren't that. Who told Nonko she's fashion, guys? I hate that person. Nonko arrives late to this thing, and this is how we have the package of Law and Lo and Nonko. Nonko arrives late. I didn't think Nonko was like dressed inappropriately, and then she also apparently asked somebody from the royal house. They're Zulu, these people, so it's a Zulu royal house of sorts. She asked that person to dish up for her or give her some chicken or something, where she's asking this person to serve her. And if we're gonna run with like how the hierarchy is set up there, it is a little disrespectful. And for her to be a Zulu girl as well, I feel like I someone knows. Nonko being Zulu and all, she would know what the etiquette around that is, and her being of a particular age as well. But she is also like heads in the cloud and about herself, and she claims she didn't know who this person was. So we have an issue later on where Lo confronts her, and she's like, "Listen, you showed up late to my event, and you weren't even dressed to the standard or the vibe of my event. I don't think Nonko was inappropriately dressed. Now, for the garment or the two piece she's wearing to be however, I think she says it's 100K. I'm Nonko Williams International, Robert Cavalli, like Roberto Cavalli, blah 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 blah. As though she's saying that it's ugly. Like at first I thought low, what, but I just rewatched it to make sure that it's ugly. And for that amount, I know she's a brand ambassador. That's the thing about being a brand. They send you what they want to move, right? They send you what they feel, your age, demographics, blah, blah, blah. Those people, they are likely to buy this thing because you're wearing it, because it doesn't sit right on Nonko. It looks very drabby. And I know she's trying to dress a little bit more conservative and cover up and stuff, but there's still a way to do it where it can still be, she's young at heart, because of the arrested development. Like, so she can't, like, it doesn't sit right on her. It doesn't match her anything. And for Lo to say she's inappropriate, I feel like her being late and her asking the princess or whomever to, that was enough of like something for Lo to have an issue with her. Not to say that, what about it? I mean, I looked at some of the um things the girls were wearing, especially the twins. I feel like the twins look very caricature, like they looked very bordering on like an Alice in Wonderland costumey kind of theme thing. I don't get it. Like, guys, just stick to your pastels. Okay, so I'm helping now. Stick to your pastels if you're invited to a high tea type situation, and the length of the thing also matters. Stick to a tea length. Okay, so that's like a midi length, somewhere around your calf area, right? Not all the way down also works just as well, but a nice little T length. A lines are great for that type of situation. Not that you can't, but like these minis that are figure hiking. Sarisha was definitely dressed like she's going to her deceased billionaires. In fact, Sarisha was just dressed like she's died, right? Because she has one of those, right? It was very, if that color was like perhaps like a teal, or even a royal blue, or like a, think of like the colors that the suits that Queen Elizabeth used to like to wear. They were usually pastel, right? Or a monochrome type of look. And like good tailoring is what makes it. A good flair is what really makes a good tea moment. Especially if you're really saying you're sticking to the, like, I feel like it's very simple. I don't get it. I don't get why people with budgets would get that wrong. That's fucking weird. But the twins are just tacky. So okay, we learn. I'm learning that the twins are tacky. They knew, and we're learning that. And this is the thing now. This is a bone that Lo has with this one, and they carry it. Later on in the season, a couple of episodes down, we have Lo apologize because Lo comes for Nonko in front of the other ladies. They've all gathered now. The next episode after this interaction, or her being late for the tea party, and they gather at this thing, and Nonko, she confronts her in front of everybody saying, "Oh, you were this, you were that." Like she was sitting with it. I did feel like she was looking for a moment, and that's the person to gun for, because Nonko will do the back and forth with you, right? She will give you that airtime. She will give you a season because she's 17 or something. I don't know how old she is in the brain, but like 23. Um, Shout out to the 23-year-olds. Y'all are bright. No, because different 23, okay? She is whatever version of 23, she in 19, whatever. That, but anyway, she confronts in front of everybody. She could have pulled her aside for that conversation, right? And Nonko snapped at the twins, very inappropriate, telling them that they talk too much and that they should hush. And she once again brings up the fact that she's been here the longest. Like she is huge on this like hierarchical like shit that I don't get. Where it's like I've done my bit, I've been here longer, and in some parts it counts for something. because they've carried the seasons, right? They've basically built a platform for other people to come on and profit from, right? I understand all of that. But in this moment, you're all here, okay? Casting so it fit that they get to sit at the same table as you. Like it or not, to a degree, in some moments, you're equals. You can't keep trying to like sun people. You can't keep trying to be like, oh, you bitches is my sons every time. You want people to like sort of like kiss the ring and stuff, but you don't have the demeanor that commands that kind of respect. Everybody comes in with huge respect for So, not just because of like her stature in society in terms of like monetarily being married to that very wealthy man and all of that stuff. Just the way, the poise with which she's carried herself throughout the shows. People don't feel like they can come at her sideways doing any kind of thing because she hasn't given them cause. It helps that she's Indian. It does help that she's married to a wealthy man. But people drag Jojo and she's married to that boxer that's done well. Why? Because she acts fucking unhinged like you. Lo apologizes and Nonku says she's not accepting her apology. It's fake. This is Nonku for you. Nonko is always on an apology tour. She's the one person where if somebody's saying sorry, she should immediately accept it because she always puts her foot in it and she's always having to go around apologizing to somebody. Personally, I think they should put this shit to bed. Later, much later in the season, we have an issue with them. They're now on vacation. They go away to uh, a spa, like a plastic surgery hotel spa. I was like, because of how these things work, nah, like obviously the hotel is getting like airtime, right? Like that is good advertising. And the demographic that these ladies appeal to, the people who watch this show, are people who like a nip and tuck. Or you assume because that they like nip and tucks and that's who they're gonna have influence over. This is the demographic to show this thing on, but it just didn't fit. For me, did not. I'm like, it's a vacation and y'all are going away to this clinic that is a recovery clinic, really, for people who've had work done. I suppose you can do other things as well, but that's the element they chose to highlight. And I'm just like, nobody here has had a procedure done. What about the I don't get it. But anyway, while they're on that vacation, we have an issue with Lo and Nonku. They are getting into it, baby, and because this thing is not going away, it's battle of the pastors. This one's a pastor, that one is not. Nonku then starts to accuse Lo of drinking. Laura said that she doesn't drink alcohol. It's part of her little Mamfundisi brand. She's not really a goody two shoes for me because she's not really bringing that like what you'd expect of a Mamfundisi thing, which I like. She's a bit more young with her thing around being a Mamfundisi. She's the cool Mamfundisi type. Her dress sense and stuff. I wish she would let go. Wabana Juju Kela. That fucking hair needs to go. Her dress sense also needs to be elevated, definitely. Nonko takes knocks at her dress sense all the time. I just don't think Nonko's the one to do that. Because with her, it's a hit or miss always. It's like, for the most part, she's nailing it over the past few seasons and stuff. But it's like, girl, you came in actually looking like low. In fact, Lo looks a refined version of what we received as Nonko. Guys, do you remember that purple wig of hers? Not even purple. What was it? Like a grayish purple, white wig. I will never get that wig out of my mind. Yes, it's ingrained in a bad way. But in the midst of them having these arguments, they're also like having prayer sessions. That's that shit about Christianity. Like Christian women in particular are phony as fuck. I find it weird when people go on and on about our sisters in Christ. That's where you get the most hate. Don't take your problems to church. Don't you have friends? You have people in your life that you can talk to about what you're going through. Don't put your problems on a prayer item. Or confirm what they're doing is working. Church breeds competition. That's the environment of it, especially among women, because a lot of it is invested in performance, right? You, especially your performance of your femininity, your womanhood, things like that. And there were little reward systems in place in church for doing it just the right way. You see it in that cult church in particular, the one where they always like dancing like this on our fucking socials, and all the women are like parading around trying to get a man and stuff. That's a competition. You are competing for the affection and adoration of men in particular. And so Christian women being mean spirited and all of that stuff is not new to me, and it's not unusual. The environment breeds that. It just does. Like, I don't know what else to say. So I'm not surprised that one moment we're pretending to be in spirit, speaking in tongues, praying our lungs out, and we're connecting on this level, and the next minute it's a rah rah. We're all gnarly, wanting to scratch each other and all of that stuff. That's sisters in Christ. That's a shit. Like, there is nothing new happening here. Absolutely nothing new. Eventually, in episode 10, they decide that they're gonna lay it to rest, but with no real resolve. Like, just, I'm tired of doing the back and forth with you. I'm tired of doing the back and forth with you. So let's just like lay it to rest, because we're never gonna find each other. We're never gonna see it from the other's point of view. So what's the point? But that's it on Lo and Nonku. And then we have Nonku and Soso as well, where I'm just, here's the thing about Soso. Guys, in episode, why am I remembering this now? What episode is it? If I go back and I can find it, I'll put it somewhere. Is it episode 5 or 4? Sarisha goes over to see Jojo. They call her Sorry because her name is Sarisha, right? That's how they shorten it. I saw Jojo said hi Soso. I swear, I'm not saying they've never called her Soso before. I'm saying I haven't heard them call her Soso before. See if I can find it.
I never thought I would be back at, and it's very surreal because I vowed never to go back. Hello. Hello. Salsa. Hello. Hello. You came all the way out, yeah? I know. This province is so hot. So hot. I am.
Oh. So as an influencer, but anyway, on a more serious note. Soso's project has always been Nonko. She'll always have a soft spot for Nonko because I think she thinks like she has this coddling thing that she does with Nonko. And it doesn't matter how many times Nonko basically accuses her of being a rich lady who throws her richness around and thinks she's too good for everybody. It doesn't matter how many times Nonko explicitly or implies that. The next season, she'll start over with Nonko. Sarisha, when it comes to, don't expect, in this season, everybody's getting along just fine. They meet up in episode 2 at the beach to squash what beefs they had from the last season so we can move this season, and they put things to bed, right? We Sarisha's never really done anything to Nonko for Nonko to have a problem with Sarisha, but Nonko finds herself on the opposite end of Sarisha every chance she gets, and she seems to relish in it. Like, I don't get it. Like, I really don't get it. And I don't get why Sarissa has decided that Nonko is a child and she needs to cuddle her. I don't get it. But when they go to that spa thing, they do a competition, like to win the rooms, right? One of the competitions, they actually do a little thing where they compete. And I think Jojo wins that room. It's a Jojo wins that room. Then the second one is the lack of the draw thing, meaning Viv called ahead of time, bought the spa so Sarisha could have the room. The fuck? Did you guys open the little pampirikis? Did you take the papers that everybody's name was on there? Because really, Saoirse just won the best room. Okay, okay. Saoirse won the best room, and she wasn't even there. She didn't arrive on time with everybody. She arrived late with Nonko, and Nonko arrived before Saoirse though. But before Saoirse got there, I mean, but after everybody else had already been there, and she's pissed. She's pissed. She's like, no, how did Saoirse get this room? Like, how is it that Saoirse got this room? I want the best room. And then she's the thing with her is that at first you think she's kidding, nah? But she doesn't let something go and you realize, oh no, it's not a joke that's running too long. She really wants this room. Like, girl, they drew her name. Well, girl, whatever. What if all the papers were also Rish's name? Like, so sorry, so Mrs. Nut. Anyway, she goes on and on about this thing, and it's like key at first, but then it's like, oh bitch, you're for real. And it's back to the I've been here longer than everybody else, but you haven't been here longer than so. You haven't. Aren't you the two vets of the show? Like, at this point, the OGs of the show. What do you mean you've been? Then she calls Saoirse and she finds out that Saoirse has already arrived, and Jojo's the one who rings Saoirse. Mind you, Soso and Jojo have just tried to put this to bed. When Joe calls sorry, Soso had just gone up to her house to try and squash this, and her like Booba was there, and they tried to squash it and move on and stuff. Right? It's like they're the two wealthy women. Well, Saoirse's wealthy, and Jojo's married to a very rich man. But they are the two women on the show who have the lifestyle aesthetic that we tune in for, and they just can't seem to get on. They can't seem to get on because, well, Jojo is stunted, like, and we know where that comes from, right? You know, and she's like, Saoirse then says, "Listen, you to Nonku, are you gonna like come up here and confront me about the room with your backup singer, meaning Joe?" And Joe has taken offense to that. And what I want to say is that in the season, other people explicitly say something similar to Joe. And she gives them an opportunity to sit and walk it back. This is Minnie. We see Londi London later in the season. Londi said the same thing, basically saying, you just co-sign everything Nonko does. She gave them a moment to sit with her and work through it and put it to bed. Watch her be a dog with a bone because it's Saoirse. Because there are underlying conditions and feelings with Saoirse, with like the thing that Saoirse does, even the tiniest thing that she does, it's like, oh, I gotta hold on to this. Now I have something to hold over this goody two shoes, right? But everybody else, we can let it go. We saw it with Maria last season, right? Her and Maria had similar things going on, but she was able to quickly let it go with Maria, right? And then it was Saoirse that she had an issue with that she had to hold on to. She could have the exact same issue with other people, but she holds on to it with Soso. I don't know why, girl. I don't know why. I wish I knew. I know some of you are thinking it's because I don't know if Saoirse does the rich woman thing effortlessly and there's like an envy there. But I like that they're not the same rich woman. I like how crass Joe is, for lack of a better term. But I like how new money in your face she is with it, and how much fun she looks like she's having with it. And it is what the fuck it is. Like, to some people, it may seem in bad taste to walk around with all of this expensive jewelry while people are hungry. Well, you know what? She did not create capitalism. You hoes are still going to be hungry whether or not she's dripped in diamonds. I hate to say it. You know, I love that. And I just wish it wouldn't be an issue of like, we want one to handle their wealth just like the other one, or we find the other more palatable than the other one. Because the truth of the matter is, if we were to get into like the nitty gritties and the politics of it all, money's dirty and nobody's amassing that amount of wealth by being people who are like running purely in ethics and paying people a livable wage. You don't get to do that. There is somebody at the bottom of that pyramid that allows you to be at the very top. Do you understand? So there's no ethical way to be rich, I'm afraid. Past a certain point, there is no ethical way to do it. But anyway, That we're gonna see how it goes with Jojo in that one, but that's also in Jojo's package for now. And then we have the twins, Andile and Ayanda. I think those are their names. Yes, and Andile, identical twins. They are they orthodontists? What are they? I don't know, but they deal with teeth. Um, that's not me disrespecting their what the fuck they do. The girls seem like they've done well for themselves. Okay, they come from a biggish family. I think there were 5 children, and they have daddy issues. Their dad left them rather young and stuff, and they aspire to be fashion designers. They don't have it. Whatever it is, they don't have it. They had a fashion show, and the fashions where were the fashions? It was giving once again a fashion with no fashions. But actually, there were fashions here, and the fashions were just. Mm, mm. You know what? People have tried to explain this, especially with reality television, right? A lot of us look at our lives and we think we lead such interesting lives, and we think we need a camera crew to follow us around and stuff. Nobody's that interesting. That's why these shows end up being so heavily produced. It's the same thing when you think you're so creative, and everybody thinks if they just had the monies and the resources and they could put together something, they could wow us. And here we have an example of 2 women who've worked really hard and they love to play dress up, but that doesn't mean they're great at it. It just means they love it. Okay, the garments are poorly made, they are uninspired, and they are hideous. We have one of them, I don't know who's who, honey, in the confessionals wearing. In fact, we have a lot of problems in the confessionals. There's this thing. What is the name of that? It's like a flower, and we see it a lot on cake designs lately. So you find it at cake supply shops and craft shops and stuff. I don't know who made that garment. I suppose whomever makes clothes for their line, like the seamstress, make dresses them for their confessionals. I don't know, but they got that thing, and then they just like stuck it onto whatever garment they're wearing. And I'm like, you're supposed to be giving fashion. Get the fuck out of my face. Let this go. Sell us some teeth, James. You do teeth. And I don't mean to box you. I'm not saying people can't like try to branch out and be multifaceted and experience other elements of themselves. But what about these fashions is something that we haven't seen? What new thing are you giving us here? It's more of the slee shit, and y'all know I love me some slee luckily. Like I love slee down, right? I actually think I just have a really, really serious crush on that woman, you know? Um, but what were those fashions? It's like perhaps if they knew how to dress, but they didn't know how to create, like they knew how to put together a fit, but didn't know how to create, that would be one thing. But there's nothing about them even being dressed where I'm like, oh, she's serving. That's a fashion hand right there. She's about to do something. What does that's the girl? And then we see them just unpacking their daddy issues and being abandoned by their father at a particular age. I think if I was watching the episodes as they come out, I think their story is important. Like that's what I'm saying. But it's like there's so much happening around, and I binged. It fell flat. I think it's an important storyline because of how many men abandon their kids in this country. I think it's important to platform those kinds of issues to see how it impacts people moving out throughout their lives to have a person that they come from reject them like that. So I think it's great that the storyline has been included. It would just like have more impact on me if I was watching it as and when the episodes were dropping, because now it was drowned out by all the you didn't like you asked her to pass you chicken you put chicken shepherd bag, oh yeah, but that's what's going on there. Minnie, is Minnie a popular name in Zululand, guys? Truly, like I want to know, is it a thing? Or is it from like Minnie and then think names like that, like name, and then they all just abbreviate to like Minnie. Anyway, what is it? Minnie, on Master of Ceremonies is a fan of reality television and definitely a fan of this show. And that's not, it's not necessary. Sometimes it can be a bad thing, but I'm still iffy about her. I don't think it's all the way a bad thing. But I can tell she does consume a lot of reality television and that she also consumes the show. And it was confirmed to me actually in episode 9 or 10 when she went to go visit Nonko and Nonko's dog came up to her and she's like, oh, also Risha. She's never been to Sarisha's. But she referred to Nonko's pug as Sarisha because she's like, no, they look like Sarisha's pugs and stuff. Well, we only know that. You and I know because we saw them on TV. Minnie. Great. Which is not a bad thing. We meet Minnie, and Minnie comes by way of Angel. I want to say because they talk about how much they're friends and stuff, and then we also meet Precious, the Nigerian lady who is South African based, and we meet her because Angel goes over to her store trying to figure out how she can work with her in terms of promoting the hair because she does some influencing, Angel, right? Um, and ish, I don't know if we needed Precious on the show. Precious is not good for TV. Her delivery is terrible. She's too rehearsed because she's fake. She saw the opportunity as that, an opportunity to platform her business and people who come on to, and guys, yo, it's such a double-edged sword because it's like you want the girls to recognize the opportunity for exactly that, an opportunity, and to come onto the show and to platform their stuff and have eyeballs on their stuff and have a person like me in Limpopo. I wouldn't walk into her store in Durban. Maybe I'm not on social media like that, but perhaps I'm watching the show, right? Now I'm like, oh, I can get hair from this person. That's a product you can ship to me. You know, that's a product you can courier to me and stuff. And we want the girls to start using the platforms in that way. But there's a way, and there's a way that it's done where it's just like I have a video sitting somewhere that I need to make public if I can figure out a thumbnail for it. There's a way where it's like, here's the thing about wanting to use reality television as a launching pad or you've already launched, right? You're in route. She's not a nobody. She's already got business like stores that are standing and stuff. But you want to propel this thing, right? I have to fall in love with you. That's the formula. The parasocial element, I have to like Precious the girl. I have to see Precious's hair and be like, bundles, right? I have to be sold on you before I want to patronize your business. Like literally that's how it works. I have to be invested in you in order to want to invest in your business. If you come on just shoving product in my face, I don't know you, bitch. Fuck you and your hair. Do you understand? So it's like when you come in and immediately, like right now, I want to buy Londy's hairpiece. Kisha guy. Kisha guy. Got my own fucking inches, more than I can handle, mind you. But I'm still like, Regela Londi. Why? Because I fell in love with Londi. I fell in love with fucking Londi London. Okay? And I want to see her do well. I seen where she comes from, how she got here, how she's doing it. I want to support her. I'm like, girl power. You go, girl. Yeah, because I'm invested in Londi. Do you understand? So you can't just come on waving product in our face. It doesn't land. In fact, it's annoying. It gives very snake oil salesman. It gives very, oh, you're just trying to push product on us. Like it's icky, man. It doesn't sit, you know? Must be organic. It must fall into the thing. You must just come on looking right? And then while we're watching, we're gonna go on your socials and look you up. We get to your page, you've tagged, we see what's going on. Then perhaps at the end of the season, when we're already in love with you, you can launch a new hair care line, a new collection, or something like that. But now we've gotten to know you. We're invested in. We don't give a shit about your business because we don't give a shit about you because we don't know you. Great, great. Doesn't matter. It turns out that Minnie has worked with Precious. Turns out Minnie has worked with Precious, and Minnie doesn't have great things to say about Precious. It's very important that I say this while we're here. I believe everything Minnie said. I believed her the moment she said it because of the pushiness of product brand in your face. It's very, very like a that hyper capitalist thing that's ingrained within Nigerian culture. I don't care how they feel about what I just said, but it's very much there. That classism that's baked into their stuff, that is further bulked by the fact that they are such a religious country. Abrahamic faith, the two dominant ones in particular in that country, which is like Islam and Christianity and stuff. And all of those things that like exist in terms, which is why they have the rates of scammering that they have, because it's gated by all means. But it's very, to those of us who are coming from societies that are still very personable, wanting the connection, the ubuntu-ness of it all, it's very off-putting. And we can it does exactly that. We're put off very quickly when you're trying to just in your face. Even with the girls up in Lagos, because y'all know I was watching the Real Housewives of Lagos and stuff. I do like the fact that the girls don't box themselves. The girls will dabble in this and do that and do that. But to a point where it's like, y'all will take a back here and there however you can get it. And it's just, it's icky. It's very fucking icky, you know? Because of how she came on. The moment Minnie said what she said, I believed her. Societies that push those capitalist ideals and like get it by any means and be a, that do all of that stuff, they don't promote, like, I don't know, like, workers don't get to have the kind of respect that we are taught to give people who work for us. And I don't know how else to describe that. But when you have somebody who's so focused on just like, it's gotta be big and better and branches and blah, 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 and blah, 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 they tend to not see the little people around them that are pushing them up like that as people. And they tend to talk to the employees in a crazy kind of way. So I believed her from jump. And I was right to believe her because late, like Minnie says, to Precious, I had dealings with you. Then Precious, who's a terrible actress, decides to say that she doesn't remember ever dealing with Minnie. That's when I knew. There was, oh no, I don't. Denying altogether ever having dealt with somebody. This is also how I knew she probably talks to her staff crazy. Because this is gaslighting 101. Like, if Minnie wasn't a strong character, she was supposed to back down, right? But Minnie ajikaena. Like, she's not gonna starve because Precious doesn't give her this gig. So Minnie can back up to her any which way, unlike the people who work for her, right? She says she doesn't know Minnie. I don't believe her. Marama. Thank you. Oh, yeah. My mommy came in to give me chicken wings, baby. It was so important to her. She's like, whatever, girl. I know you said you're recording, but here are your chicken wings. Anyway, see now? She says she doesn't know her, which is a lie from the pits of hell. And then it doesn't go away. This is not the Minnie and Precious package. Precious could have dated this and continued to like rub her fucking inches in our face that we're still not gonna buy. Precious could have dated this. Precious could have just sat down with Minnie and been like, you know what? And she tried to do it, but her angle was wrong. She tried to use her father's passing to get some sympathy to navigate this, but she's not smart enough. It's that simple. She thinks she's smart, but she's usually working with people who need her. Like they need the job she's providing. Minnie doesn't. So she's used to dealing with people who have to act stupid so they can keep their job. She she could have dated this by just saying, I remember you. A lot was happening there. It was such turbulence. We were still learning so much. Everybody was so frustrated. I really regret how this would have been dead. Dead. And her business could have gone on to get more airtime, more play. But she wanted to be right. And she wanted to gaslight her way out of the situation. Probably because she's gotten away with doing it before. She gets away with this behavior. Okay? She hosts an event. She tells everybody to dress in black. And she shows them the hairs and stuff. Jojo shows up in pink. And then a while later, Nonku also shows up in all pink. Nobody says anything bad to Jojo when she shows up in pink. And Nonku also shows up in all pink. And then they finally ask, okay, but why did you guys do that? And did you plan it? And she's like, no. I get a low said that I didn't dress according to theme. I wanted to show her what it looks like when you actually don't honor a theme. But you're doing it at somebody's event, my babe. But that's not good for you. I feel however I feel about Precious, but she said wear black, which is a color all of you have. I know this. You've worn black before. We have plenty of things where you wore black. Okay? But you chose to be disrespectful. And the white woman is acting like she doesn't know that she wasn't attacked because of her whiteness. I came here also wearing, and nobody said nobody wants to be the angry black girl yelling at the white woman who cries about everything while being an aggressor over wearing pink. Nobody wants to do that. And you know that. This is the equivalent of in the protests when the white people stand in front of the black people because then they know they're not going to attack. You knew exactly what you were doing. You were giving your friend cover by way of your whiteness. Shut up. Okay? This was disrespectful. If anybody else, any of the other black ladies had shown up in pink before Nonku arrived in pink, they were going to get the same reception. Precious doesn't even know Jojo enough to really say, hey, that's not the theme. Even when Nonku showed up the way she did, she was still trying to be fake okay with how they were doing, like showing up at her event, like very disrespectful and not in theme colors. Even then, she's trying to be like, ha 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 ha, whatever, whatever. As they're sitting there, Minnie and Nonku start talking about the hair. And also, guys, Nonku also denied knowing Precious and then went on to say somebody who worked at your salon agrees with what Minnie's claiming. What is this thing of the ladies trying to act like they don't know the other lady? Every time a lady comes on or you meet a new lady, you act like you don't know her. You've never met her. As if, like, what? You're so important. She remembered your name, but you don't remember her because she was not memorable. What are you trying to do? Because later down the line, we always learn that you, in actual fact, do know this bitch and you remember her. Why do you do that? We learned that Minnie says to Nonko, oh, the hair is nice that she has here on display, but it's not the hair that she sells you. The hair on display and the hair at the store in display is never the hair that arrives when they sell you. I'm going to say this one time and, well, I'll probably say it again. You hoes are going to continue getting scammed over some hair because you are so obsessed with not wearing your own hair. I'm sorry. Okay? The obsession with not wearing your own hair, which is the demand, has far surpassed the supply. There's only so much hair that the Vietnamese and all the other, I don't know whose hair you guys like wearing. There's only so much they can grow at a certain rate. And you're all not wanting to wear your own hair. You're all wanting to wear their hair. That takes years to grow. Do you understand what's happening? So if the demand is that high, it leaves a lot of room for the scammering to happen. You hoes are gonna there is like whatever hair you bought in 2008, that's it, bitch. Okay? The new hair is mixed in with other stuff. It's like they gotta cut the coke. Okay? You can't have blue magic, bitch. It's gonna have other powders in it to stretch it because the demand is that serious. Because you hoes don't wanna wear your own hair. Okay? I'm sick of it. Every week it's somebody in hair sells fake hair to scam me. Dragon City is bitches. Bitches. It's because you don't. Oh, they don't sell good hair. Good hair is the kind that grows out of your hair. Good hair is the kind that grows out of your head. If you are going to continue to play these games, understand this is not the market that you're dabbling in. It is now officially gambling. Buying this hair is officially considered gambling. You win some, you lose some. Okay? It's the luck of the fucking draw, and the house will always win, bitch. You will be losing some fucking money. Do you hear me? Little bora. Every week it's you people online. Oh, but this, it's not the, it's not, they can't even guarantee that anymore. The suppliers can't even guarantee, like the vendors can't guarantee your favorite hair brand anymore that this hair is actually this because the demand is that serious. But not, it's none of it is rooted in self-hate. Like this is how serious it is. So I don't care, Minnie, that the hair at the shelf is not the one. Well, girl, whatever, bitch. Okay. But Precious could have called us a day. Precious then goes on to what is this? The next day, link up or have one of the twins come over to her home. And as the twin is sitting there, she wheels in a person who works for her, an employee, to come and ask her, do I yell at you? Do I do this? What is this bitch who work for you supposed to say, Precious? My precious. What is she supposed to say, darling? She needs money to go back home. Money that you give her. If she now sits in front of this lady and these cameras and says to us, well, actually, she do be yelling. She do be yelling. Precious, how's she getting home, Precious? Precious, get the fuck out of my face, babe. So this lady corroborates her tellings of what a good person she is and how she's a good heart. Precious said that out of her mouth. Anybody who is to say they have a good heart has a terrible heart. Like it's that simple. Out of the blue, at the table, at the dinner, at her hair thing, somebody asked, or whichever event it was, what are some lessons you've learned in business? And her thing was immediately, oh, taking on a person without properly assessing their skill level. And I do that because of my good heart. I was like, oh, Minnie's right about you. Yeah. That's the last we see of her because she can't get one of the twins to say, the one twin to say, oh, I believe you now. Like she can't get the exact answer she wants. There is nothing to me like a knock with no tact. I hate that. Like knocks need to have style and tact about them because you've been one for so long. You have some smarts about you which makes you great at manipulation. If you're not great at that, then you're just used to being around sheep. And it's annoying when you want to do that to the rest of us who have nothing to benefit from being in your good graces. That's the last we see of Precious. Because she feels like her business is going to keep getting dragged. But again, if she was smart enough, she could have dated this. Okay? Are we great? We're great on Precious. But that's Minnie. Minnie was like, and I don't even believe that Minnie tried to like, Minnie was trying to not get people in trouble, right? So she's trying to skirt this, even though at some point she'd confronted head on, like at the twins' fashions with no fashions fashion show. She would try to, because she didn't want it to come out as to who was texting her. Because some of the people she was talking to were complaining about Precious still work for Precious. But Precious was the one who was, because she wasn't getting the exact answer she wants from Minnie. She wasn't getting Minnie to back down or take it back or, walk it, none of that. It wasn't happening exactly the way she wants it. She was the one who couldn't let it go. Minnie could have let this go. I feel like Minnie could have let this go. She tried. That's it on Minnie and Precious.